Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to understand different SQL commands with their categories. In last part, we have seen the basics of SQL. In this part, we are going to understand more of these SQL commands and understand how to write the queries for them. Before we get started with any SQL commands, we should have at least basic understanding of what are the different data types provided by that language. Same as SQL provides some of the basics data types to work with any of the data. What are the different data types provided by SQL? So these data types are categorized in namely as numeric data types, character data types, date data types, and lastly others can be categorized in the other category. So in the numeric data types, we get data types like the int, begin, decimal, number, and numbers. These data types are generic ones. It may change based on the type of DBMS software we are using. And like this, we are having data types for the char. Basic one is a char, and then we are having a varchar, varchar2. These data types also may going to vary based on the DBMS software we are going to use. So always remember to check supported data types of any DBMS software whenever we are working with any of the DBMS software we are comfortable with. Third data type can be date, and in that we are having data types like the date, time, timestamp. Lastly, we are having others category where we get data types like the Boolean data type, blob data type. Blob is nothing but a binary large object, and there is a glob object which is character large object. We are going to understand how to work with these data types whenever we are going to write the SQL queries for a respective SQL command. Okay, now let's move toward our focus for this video, that is understanding the different SQL commands. If you watch my first part, you must have understood that every language provides a set of instructions through which we can perform any operations. And to write this instruction, we need the support of commands. And these different commands in SQL are categorized as DDL, DML, TCL, and DCL, and DQL. So we have already seen what are the different commands which comes under these different SQL categories. Let's understand each of these categories with each of these commands. Let's start with the DDL commands. Let's take a look at the first DDL command, which is the create command. So in SQL, every entity, that is a physical entity we can say, can be represented in SQL in the form of the table. Table consists of row and column, and to create the structure, that is what are the different columns in a table, we have to use this create command. How we can use the create command? Let's see this in practical. For this example purpose, I am using a PGAdmin, which is a GUI tool provided by the PostgreSQL DBMS software. As of now, we are having, so in my system I'm having two databases, where one is the EMS database and PostgreSQL database. So I'm going to use the Postgres database to for this examples. Okay. Once I right click on this Postgres, I can see over here query tool. Okay, I'm going to use this query tool, and I can run some commands over here. For the create command, we are having a basic structure as, let's understand this basic structure. Okay. So writing a query will be like create. Then for every DDL command, we have to write a table keyword in the query. Okay. So writing query will be create table. So here is going to be our table. Let's say that we are going to create a student table. Then we have to provide the columns. What are going to be columns? So let's say that I'm going to create at first only two columns. One is going to be student number, and second one is student name. For that I'm going to create SNO. So PostgreSQL, it supports the data types like the int, begin. So for that I'm going to use int as a data type. Then I am going to create a second column, which is the S name, and I'm going to provide data types the varchar. And I'm going to keep the character length as 20. So my character length will not going to exist more than 20 characters. Okay, so I'm going to end it with a semicolon. Whenever I'm going to click on the run command over here, so execute is going to execute that command. So here it says query returned successfully in 75 milliseconds. Now what we can do is we can go ahead in the schema. Here we can find a section for the tables. I'm going to expand this section. Here you can see the student table which we have just created. If we just right click on it and there is an option view all rows. So once I'm going to click on this one, it's going to show me all the table structure. Okay, here you can see so SNO column, this one, and there is an SNAME column. Okay, SNO column has a data type as an integer, and SNAME has a character data type. Okay, so this was about the use of the create command from the DDL category. Now, is it the only form? Is it all that's there in the create command? No, there are something which is not specified over here, that is specifying the constraint for a column. We are going to understand in a separate video constraint and entity relationship models. For now, let's just go with the basic model. Now we have understood the create command and how to create a basic structure for a table. Now let's understand the second command in the DDL category, which is an alter command. Alter command is there to modify the schema of a table, modifying the structure of a table. What are the different things which can be modified in a table structure? Let's look at that. If we look at this table structure, we can modify the table name, even the column. We can add a column, we can modify the existing column. So these are some of the operations which can be performed. Okay, let's understand one or two operations over here with the alter command. Okay, so I'm going to comment out this first command, which is create command. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a column in the existing table. Okay, how to add a column is very simple. So for that, the basic structure for alter command is add a query is this one. Okay, let's follow that same basic structure. Okay, I want to add a column in my table. So for that, we use alter table. What is going to be table name? Is going to be student, and I want to add column. I want to add over here column as an age, and the data type I want is the int. Okay. Once I'm going to execute this command, okay. So it says query return successfully. Here only I'm going to run one query. We are going to understand about this query later on. Select star from student. Okay. Once I'm going to execute this query, here you can see there's one more column which is added in the student table, which is an age column. Okay. Now let's understand one second query. Let's say that I want to modify the existing data type of the column. I want to modify the data type of an age to let's say that character type. Okay, let's try this one out. Alter table name is going to be student. I'm going to modify. Okay. So the way we modify a table column might going to change based on the DBMS software you are going to use. Okay. For the PostgreSQL, we have used an alter column name. The column name is going to be age, and what we want to modify the type to varchar 20. Okay. I'm going to run this command. So here it says that query runs successfully. Now let's do one thing. I'm going to rerun this select query. So here you can see the the data type of the age column has changed to varchar. Earlier it was int type. Okay, int type, and now it's changed to varchar. Now let's understand the third SQL command from the DDL category, which is going to be a rename command. So what are the different things which can be renamed? Rename can be done for our table name can be renamed, and second one is the renaming of the column. Understand, renaming the table and renaming the column. Okay, let me just add a comment over here. It's for the create, it's for the alter. Okay, let's first understand renaming a table. To rename a table, we still have to use the alter command. Okay, but there are places where we have to change the rename keyword. Okay, let's understand this. Alter table student rename to std. Let's say that we are going to name it like this. So I'm executing this one as well. Now let's try to run this query. Okay, let's just going to do alter. So it says query returned successfully. Now let's check if that that table name has changed or not. Okay, I'm going to refresh these tables. Okay, it has changed to std. This was about renaming a table. Now let's try to rename a column. So I'm going to run a query which is alter table student. For renaming we have to use the alter command only, alter query. So that student rename column. Which column I want to change? I want to change to age to score. Okay. And I'm going to run this query. So what it says, a student is not exist. I have to change it to std. Okay. The query runs successfully. Let's just go over there. And what we can do is we have to run this select command. Okay. Again. I'm going to rerun this query. Okay. Change it to std. So here we can see the column name, which was earlier age, now has changed to score. Okay, so this was the way we can use the rename command in SQL to rename a column and table. Now let's understand the other commands, which is going to be drop and truncate. Let's first understand about the drop. So as the name suggests, drop is basically there to delete its entire structure of a table along with its data. As well as if I want to remove a certain column in my table, I can still use this drop. Let's understand both of these scenarios. Let's just first understand dropping the column. Okay, so we have this score column, right? Let's try to drop this score column. For that we have to still use the alter command. Alter table student std, and still keep making that mistake, but remember to always have this table name in mind. So drop column, I'm going to remove this score column. Okay, let's just okay, I made a little mistake over here. Score table, rerun. Okay, query has run successfully. Now let's just go over here and comment this query first, and we are going to uncomment the select query. I'm going to run the query, and here you can see that table structure contains only SNO and SNAME column, and score column has been dropped out. Same way, if I want to just drop the entire table, let's just see that one as well. Drop table name is going to be std. Okay, this is the general way we can drop a table. Okay, now let's just run this query. So here it says query run successfully. Now let's just refresh this tables and see if the table still exists. So here we can see that table does not exist. Even if we try to run the select query once again, here it says it's not showing any data. It means that table does not exist at all. Okay, relation std does not exist. So this was about the DDL command. One command we are left with is the truncate command. So just understand this one fact, that truncate command is there to delete an entire data of the table along with releasing its physical storage. Okay, we are going to understand truncate in a bit whenever we are done understanding the DML commands. Okay, let's just go towards the DML command first. So we have seen how to create a table, how to create a general structure of a table, how to add a column in a table as well. Now let's just understand, let's try to understand how we can add a data in that table. I'm going to uncomment the create student command. Okay, I'm going to rerun this command. So it's going to create a student table for me. I'm going to refresh it. So here you can see the student table is available with how many columns? 2 columns, SNO and S. Okay, let's understand first command over here, insert. So insert command is used to add the data record in the existing table. Okay, so how we can add an record in a table? So can we add only single record, multiple records, or record with a specific column? What do I mean by that? Okay, let's understand these things with an example. Okay, so what I'm going to do is insert command. Okay, so insert. Let's try to use this insert command. Yeah, before that, let's understand the basic structure of an SQL insert query. Okay, so this is a basic structure. Let's use the basic structure to create our queries for insert statement and for inserting a student data. Okay, so it's going to be insert into table name. This is going to be student. Okay, so table keyword only comes in the DDL statement, not in the DML statement. Okay, so it's going to be values 101 and name is going to be Shubham. Yes, my name. Let's execute this query. Okay, so what it says is, oh, yes, this query have commented first. Now rerun this query. Okay, it says query returned successfully. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run this SQL select command once again. Student. Try to comment this first. Comment this one. Okay. Here we can see the record is inserted. Now let's try to do it in a way, same command. But in this case, I'm going to insert only the SNO, not the name. Okay, let's try to run this query and let's see what happens. Okay, what it has done is it has just executed that query. Okay. So if you look at the message, successfully run query total number of 2. Okay, so but if you look at the data over here, the SName column has come as a null. Okay, so whenever we are inserting any column or data in a table, always remember to specify the column name as well, because it gives you the understanding of whatever the data we are going to store. Okay, now let's understand it, how we can do it. In that, what we have to do is we have to use this same query here, but I have to specify the column. Okay, why I'm saying that? Let's say that if I don't specify over here, okay. And instead of just passing first number over here, I'm just going to say character over here. So what SQL query is going to do is it's going to try to insert a record with SNO as a Shubham. Okay, but we are trying to store SName, not the SNO, right? So in that case, what it's going to do is it's going to throw an error. What is it? Invalid input syntax, because the SNO has a type of int, but we are trying to store it in the store it as character. So always remember to specify the column name whenever you are writing an insert command. So if I do now like this one and rerun this query, it's going to successfully run this query, and in that case our SN is going to become as a null. Now let's go towards the next query, which is an update query. I have added a record in a table. Now I want to update that record. Let's say that in this record, the SNO number which I have given is wrong. For S Shubham name, the actual SNO was the 100, but I have gave it as 101, which is a wrong data. And I want to update that data. How I can do that? Using the update command. Okay, let's understand this update command. The basic script for the update command is this one. Okay, now let's just try to understand it. Table, which is table name, which is going to be student. Set, which one is going to be S and O equals to 100. Where, okay, so updating can be done on all the records, a specific number of records based on condition, or a certain record on condition basis. What I'm going to do over here is updating a column based on a condition for a certain record only. Of the student should be Shubham. Okay, let's just add this condition, and wherever I'm going to run this command, it's going to be like this. Okay, so it seems that multiple records were having this name as a Shubham. So all of them SNO value has been updated to 100. Okay, so this is a general scenario for multiple columns update. And if I want to just update all the columns, in that case I have to remove all this where condition. Instead of this, what I can say is set S name equals to Shubham. In that case, what it's going to do is it's going to update all the values in a column of S name for all the records. It's going to update it as a Shubham. Okay, when I'm going to run this query, it's going to, here you can see all the S name has been updated to a Shubham. Now let's understand the third command in DML command, which is in delete command. All the commands in SQL are self-explanatory, but this delete one. So what are the things can be deleted in SQL table? Okay, so to drop, delete a table, we have seen drop command, but to delete a record, we have to use this delete SQL command. How many records can we delete? We can delete one record, multiple records based on condition, single record based on condition as well. Okay, let's understand this. Okay, we are going to understand two queries. One is deleting all records and deleting only one record with condition. Delete student, delete from student, where SNO equals to 102. Okay, I'm going to run this query. Okay, it has run and successfully. Here we can see the third column, which was having SNO as 102, is deleted. Now let's just try to understand the second query where we can delete all the records. In this case, we have to just remove the where clause, and it's going to delete all the data in our SQL table. Okay, here you can see all the data is deleted. Now we have seen such kind of an operations previously as well in DDL commands, which is a truncate command. It was deleting all the data of table, and drop is also deleting all the data of table. So what's the difference between drop, truncate, and delete? Okay, first of all, let's understand what is drop. Drop is just deleting entire data of a table along with its existing structure, everything. So, and if you are looking at truncate and delete, it just deletes the data. Okay, so let's just move this drop command from this equation. Let's just understand the difference between a truncate and delete only, because both of them are working on data. Truncate deletes all the records at a time. Okay, and delete, whenever we want to delete all the records in table, it's going to perform deletion operation on a record basis. It means that once it deletes first record, then it's going to delete second record. So it's going to perform this operation one record at a time. Okay, and it's going to take a little bit of more time compared to truncate. Which is going to show you query truncate. Since it's a DDL command, I have to use the truncate table and the table name. Okay, it's going to be student. Okay, it's this simple now. One thing is that you have to remember truncate permanently deletes all the data in table. Okay, so whenever you want to run a truncate command, always be wary that this cannot be reverted. So once you delete all the data in a table, it cannot be recovered back. But against this delete, if we are having a save point, or if the command is not yet committed, we can still recover the data. Now let's move towards the next category of SQL commands, which is the DQL command. We have understood how to create a table, how to add a table, how to update the table. But how should we fetch the data? Because in industrial practices, the operations we perform for fetching data is much more than actually updating a table and creating a table. To fetch all the data, what we can do is we have to use a query which we have already seen, which is a select query. But there are some variations in the select query. Let's understand them as well. So this was a normal SQL select command we have seen. So what this command does is it's fetch all the records. But let's say that I want to fetch only a certain records. Okay, let's just first do one thing. I'm going to insert all this and uncomment all this insert command. I'm going to run this one. Okay, so query runs successfully. Okay, we are having. Let's say that I want to fetch only certain records which has SNO equals to 101. In that case, this select star from student is not going to work out, right? So how we can do is we have to use the where clause over here as well, like we have done it in case of the update. So let's just do that and see how it works. So for that, I have to use select star from student where SNO equals to 101. Okay, I'm going to run this query, and here you can see all three records. Is there any variations, or can I just use only one conditions? You can use multiple conditions over here. Okay, you have to just use an or logical AND operator over here, and then we are good to go. So this is just a general example. What is the star over here? Okay, star represents all the columns. It means that it should fetch all the records with all the columns, but I don't want to fetch all the columns. I want to fetch the columns of S name where SN equals to 101. How I can do that? Specify the column which you want to fetch from student where SNO equals to 101. Okay, once I run this command, here you can see the only SNO column values are coming. So this was about the DQL command. It is one of the important command and mostly used command in SQL. Now we are remaining with two categories. One is the TCL command, this transaction control language, and there is a data control language. Okay, let's understand these two of these categories. Let's just understand this TCL command. Okay, let's just understand the commit. So what happens is that whenever we make any changes in the database table, they are not we want them to be permanent, but they are not permanent by default. Okay, this happens with only DDL commands. What do I mean by that? Whenever I'm inserting a record, that is I want to enter a record for a student which has an SNO 103. Whenever I'm going to perform an insert SQL query, it's going to add that record. But is it the changes are permanent? No, these changes are not permanent. By default, DML queries are not auto committed. It means that these changes are not permanent, and hence let's say that if I just close the terminal abnormally, it means that I click on the red cross and just close the terminal. Those changes are going to be permanent in the database? No, it might go to disappear. So it's always best that whenever you perform any DML command, you always commit those changes. Okay, let me show you with an example. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a second query tool. Okay, in that I'm going to just say insert into student. It's going to be SNO values 103. Okay, let's just execute this. Okay, the query runs successfully, but let's just do one. Okay, I'm going to open one more query tool. I'm going to perform that select query once again. Okay, it's going to be select star from student. Okay, let's try to run this query. Okay, but here I can't see that 8th row which has a SN as a 103. Why this happen? Well, by default, DML commands are not auto-committable commands. So how do we make these changes permanent? Well, we have to use this TCL command, which is a commit command. How we can do that is let's just go back to over here, queries, and just going to perform a commit command. Okay, I'm going to just execute this. Okay, so it says query return successful. Now let's go back over here and try to rerun this command. Okay, now let's see over here that we can see the 103 record. Okay, so this is the way we can make changes permanent whenever we make changes through a DML commands. Okay, so well, this is about commit, but let's say that there are some changes which are made mistakenly and I just want to roll back those changes. How I can do that? Well, until those changes are not permanent, that is, they are not committed, we can roll back those changes, that is, undo those changes. How we can do that? Before committing those changes, we have to run a rollback command over here. The same way we have done it for the commit as well. By doing that, we can just undo those changes. Same way, we can keep a save point in any place, and we can roll back to that save point to undo our changes. Okay, so this was about the TCL command, that is transaction related command, that making those changes permanent, roll backing those changes, adding a save point. Okay, now last category we are left with is the data control language, that is grant revoke. These commands are more specific regarding security of database table. Okay, so what are the privileges that we can give, what are the privileges we can take back. We are going to understand these commands whenever we are going to understand about the security part of the SQL. Okay, so till then, bye bye.